Hi everyone, so today what we're going to be looking at is a 7v7 game, and what we're going to look at it within the 7v7 game is the 2-3-1 formation. So the reason we're going to be looking at the 2-3-1 formation is it's a formation that a lot of us use within the club, and club wide I think it's a really good formation to learn. I suppose the pros for the formation, the reason why a lot of us would use it is when we're attacking, what we get is width and we get depth. So we get width from centre backs, we get width from our wide players, and then we get depth from our striker. We can make the pitch big and wide when we have it. When we don't have the ball, then another thing we can do really quickly is get narrow and compact, so wide players can come in, make it narrow, we can step up and make the pitch quite small, and suddenly then we've got this really hard to break down set of team as well. Today though, what we're going to be looking at within the 7v7 game is how to build out from the back. So again, it'll be in the 1 for our goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, left, centre, right, and a striker is our 1. So that's our 2-3-1 formation. I'll go through a few scenarios to start with, some of the more basic, and then we'll build it up as we go along. So we'll always be in green and white, and then what you'll see is the red magnets here will be acting as the opposition. So to start with, this is how the opposition often sets up. They usually get their 2 wider players to get in line with our defenders, and then their central player will start in line with the goalkeeper, all on the build out line. What we look to do from there is shape up something like so. So what we're looking for is a goalkeeper to start central, ball at his feet. We get our 2D, so right D, left D, to go just outside our 6-yard box in a position where they can receive with plenty of space and can't just be pressed from these lads just yet. Really important detail then from our wide players is firstly that they're right out at the touch line. They want chalk in their boots, and then what they're looking to do, they don't want to be in front of these players where they can be seen. They want to be playing off the shoulder of these wide players, to ensure that if they were to receive it, that their touch is going past these players. We're taking them out of the game. Midfielder then, to start with, will stay central and close to the play. We're looking for him to link up maybe in these spaces here and here. And then striker, as always, you're looking to occupy these 2, so you're not just picking up one and leaving the other free. You're looking to annoy them both, occupy them both, stay in between them, and ideally start central. You can move wide right, wide left, but always start central. So the first scenario, goalkeeper often will play to one of our defenders, to the back foot. From there, a play that happens quite a lot, and it's all based on the opposition's press, is can we get out through our outside midfielder, so in this case the right. How we would do that, if our centre back was to start stepping in and this press is straight line from their opposite winger, often what happens is if we've stayed wide enough and played off their shoulder, there's now a passing lane that we can get out, and instantly you're looking at the pitch, we're already out. We've played 1, 2, 3 out of the game as soon as we step in. From there we'll just look to shift over, create a shape. Our outside left would look to step up into midfield. Our midfielder will come across, try help maybe, or even just keep this space free, and then the player on the ball will look to drive in, hopefully player striker. We can create spaces in these areas from there. Now what's important to remember is it won't always be as easy as that, although it does happen. Often what happens is it might happen 2 or 3 times and from there we obviously have a winger that might press a little bit better. So now if we were to play this side, the winger might press a little bit more of an angle and make this more difficult to get through. On this occasion, again, we can still get out through this player. They must stay wide, but now they may need to readjust their shape, readjust their angle to still be off the shoulder. Our defender might also need to fake coming in to move them, and now again we've got that passing lane that we can still play maybe with our left foot out to our right D, or our right midfielder, apologies, who can then step into that space. Now they're the 2 easiest scenarios we get, but often they occur, and if it's possible, it's a very easy but effective way to get out, give us all this space to drive into, and bring our opposite midfielder, our central midfielder, and our striker into the game. Now talking about a little bit more difficult presses then, centre backs are right and left D, again just going either side of the 6. They're looking to receive, so this time we'll play out through the left. But now what might happen is, if we're playing against slightly stronger opposition or more clever opposition, we'll get a press from the striker to force us one side. and their wingers will try and cut off spaces as opposed to man marking. So now suddenly we may need to change our approach to getting out, because even though our outside midfielder might be in a really good position off shoulders, the issue is if they've marked well enough the space, we can try play that pass, but it might be intercepted, or pretty much the same thing the other side, it'll be intercepted. So they've narrowed us off really well. So now what we have to do is a different form of getting out. So we've spoken about the outside midfielder dropping in maybe, but again, we don't want to be in front, because again they can just press really aggressively, try win it in these areas. So now we might stay high, keep this player occupied, and now a player that we haven't spoken too much about yet is going to become vital. So we've got space in this area, so what I'd be saying is, now can this midfielder maybe check one way to move this midfielder and now drop into this space for our defender. By doing so, they now have plenty of space, and if they're not followed, they can receive and look to turn. From there, outside midfielder can push on, outside midfielder can push on, we can play here, or we could open the game if he comes over and presses and play here. So that's one brilliant way of getting out. Now the same thing can still happen if the midfielder does that little check away and comes in and still gets followed. Really important detail though is that we probably will need to play the same side, and we might need to play off one or two touches with an open body. So now we're looking to come in, it's tight, the pass can still happen, but now really quickly our outside midfielder on the left must make that run past their winger, and we can one touch or two touch max if it's quick, play in front, and again we're driving into that space, putting their defenders under pressure, and as that's happening the whole team can step up, our midfielder can move with the ball, and then our opposite outside midfielder on the right can step in as well. Suddenly we have these scenarios where we can drive, maybe engage a player to play the striker, maybe a 1-2 like so, maybe the striker has enough space to go score himself, maybe the opposite defender comes across, we can open out. All these different scenarios that can be for another day, but it's all coming from our build out. Now another scenario, again, if I was just to reset them, again we're looking at different ways of getting out. So that scenario happens a lot where, like I said, we could play here, step, striker presses, their wingers pick up really good positions where it makes it difficult to play, and now when our midfielder does his little check away and comes in, he's got marked even tighter, but more importantly he's got marked ball side. Ball side means that when that pass is played, their midfielder can win it back. That is a problem for us. So now, even though again really good position, we still have an issue. We're not necessarily going to get out right now. So one thing that our teams neglect a lot, and it's really important, and I spoke about it earlier, our striker is staying central, occupying these two, but that is only to start with. If play develops where we see, okay, there's no way we're getting out through our outside midfielder, our central midfielder's marked really tight, one thing our striker could do, particularly working on this defender's long pass, is come over to the same side as the ball, try peel away, isolate himself 1v1 with their right side defender, and now we can look to bypass this press altogether and just play that longer pass. It's definitely not a long ball or anything like it, it's a long pass, it's a clever pass into a player who's isolated 1v1, and then from there, really important that we all make our moves quickly towards the ball to help out the striker in need. And suddenly now again we've made that transition from our half into the opposition's half with 3v2 or a 4v3 really quickly through just a really good use of the ball in a difficult scenario. Moving back again to the goalkeeper, another scenario that could take place, and again this one's probably the most important for our players to learn, because we've gone through all these scenarios, but what's been key so far is, although we've taken up good positions, opposition can still pick up positions to make it difficult for us to play. So now what's really important to understand is we won't always get out through the same side. So what I'll tell you is, our better teams and our better players are clever enough to appreciate sometimes we won't get out through one side first time, or even through second time, it might take 3 or 4 phases before we move the ball from our half into the opposition's half. So going back to the right hand side, what you'll see, we've played our right D. Again, we're all in really good positions. He's come to step in and he's got pressed by the striker. So now another scenario we can have, it's kind of two options at the moment. We've come in, they've gone really tight. One thing I'd say before we try switch it is there space for that centre back to drive into? On this occasion I believe so. So can they actually dribble themselves into this space? Now by doing so, they've created a decision for this player and for this player, and they've actually taken their striker out again. If their winger now comes to press, we could maybe do our bounce pass out to the outside midfielder. If the central player comes to press, maybe our midfielder could pull away, again playing off shoulders to get out. And if nobody presses, our centre back can continue to run into that space until eventually they have to, and by then our striker could have been made involved, or our outside midfielder again could have been played through if he's made his clever run or her clever run. But again, this always won't be the case. They might press even better when we step in. We've made a really good press from their striker. They've cut off the angles, they made it tight. Now this is vitally important. At the moment we've got 4 against 1, 2, 3. So we're always looking for where the overload is or where the space is. So it's very much so an option for us now to maybe just say, do you know what, we'll go out the other side and try move these players. We'll get our left side centre half on it, our centre back, sorry, and by the time they move across, we're hoping that we've moved the ball quickly in 1 and 2 touches, that our outside midfielder maybe can get off the shoulder again and we can play and go the other side. Last one then, as I said, it may not always be a case that we get out in one, so it's just important to know this can often happen too. If you're playing against a really good side, we could step in with this centre back, they could shift across, they could press really well and aggressively, making sure we have to go back through our goalkeeper. But what they could do really well is shift their team really quickly as we're moving, and suddenly we still can't get out this side. Now what might have to happen is we play our outside midfielder, but suddenly again they've shifted over, made it really difficult. So it's vitally important we move it just back just as quickly. We didn't need to get out first time round, but now we've really moved them to one side. We can maybe go through our goalkeeper out the other side, and again they might be shifting at this point, but we've got them tired. We're playing off shoulders, and suddenly two or three goals of moving the ball from one side to another, we've now gotten ourselves into all this space where again we can play our striker, move up, and again get numbers into their half, looking to create those attacking scenarios again. Thanks everyone. That's, I guess, build out in a 7v7 game for today. 5 or 6 scenarios that can be used all of the time, and again what's vitally important to remember is it's often based on these 3 players and how they press. But really important to know that there are more than 1 or 2 ways to get out, and that although we do persist on getting out through our outside midfielders a lot, remember we could do that by bouncing out through our midfielder, we could do that through dribbling through these 2 players, and similarly we could do it by simply bypassing all these players together, playing to our striker. It's not always as simple as just getting out through this player and this player. Thank you.